I'm Roman Yossi of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Matt Duchesne of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Justus Aros of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Ryan Johansson of the Nashville Predators.
You're listening to the Renegades of Puck
with Crazy Charlie.
Welcome to the bunker. Welcome to the Renegades of Puck podcast. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier, and before we get started on the No Half Step in Hockey coverage, let me direct you to our home website at renegadesofpuck.com. Once you go to our home website, you'll learn everything you need to know about the Renegades of Puck, and once you're finished doing that, you can click on the merchandise tab, and right there you'll find our classic logo t-shirt, our Pride logo t-shirt, and about 5 other versions of the Renegades of Puck t-shirts, including our brand new Jam and No Half Step in lines of t-shirts. You'll also find all the great gimmicks that you've come to know and love from the Renegades of Puck: socks, throw pillows, wall arts. It doesn't make a difference if there's a gimmick out there. We've put our logo on it. Easier said, we've sold out so that you can buy in. Please support this operation on social media. You can do that by going to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and of course TikTok. Give us a like, give us a subscription, give us a follow on any of those platforms, and follow along with everything that's going on with the Renegades of Puck. You can also find the show on YouTube and in audio form on a myriad of platforms out there. So again, many opportunities for you to support the essence of No Half Steppin'. Doesn't take you but a moment, and it doesn't cost you a single thing, but it sure does go a long way to helping us out here in the trenches. If you'd like to become a partner of the show, you can do that by going to Venmo. You can just search Renegades of Puck or scan the QR code that's currently on your screen. Thanks to great donations from Renegades just like you, we've been able to upgrade all of our equipment here in the bunker. New microphone, new camera, new lights, new everything. After our first season of operations, we needed significant upgrades, and you Renegades stepped up and helped make that happen. Stick taps, love, and respect to each and every one of you. We sure do appreciate your support. Now it's time for me to deliver the goods and the No Half Step in Hockey coverage. It's operation number 675 for the Renegades Puck. That's right, show number 675. We sure do appreciate all the support over the many, many seasons that we've been doing this. On this date in hockey history, the Nashville Predators currently find themselves in 6th place in the Central Division. They've played 16 games. They have a record of 7-8-1. They currently have 15 points. They sit 5 points behind the Dallas Stars, who are currently in 1st place in the Central Division. The Winnipeg Jets are in 2nd place with 19 points. Colorado Avalanche with 17. Minnesota has 16. Chicago Blackhawks at 15, along with the Nashville Predators. 7th place is Arizona with 13 points, and the St. Louis Blues are trailing the entire division in the cellar. After 14 games played, they only have 12 points on the season. Back to the Nashville Predators. Their next game will take place on home ice versus the New York Islanders. The Nashville Predators have a home record of 4-3-1 on the season. They have a goal differential of -10. They have scored 42 and given up 52 on the season. The New York Islanders come into Bridgestone Arena with an overall record of 11-6-0. They have 22 points on the season. That's good for 2nd in the Metropolitan Division. On the road, impressive record of 5-3, and a goal differential that's also impressive of +14. For the Nashville Predators, once they wrap up this game against the New York Islanders, they will only have one more game against the Islanders. That will take place next month in December on the 2nd, when the Preds will be out on Long Island to face the Islanders. The Preds' next home game will take place on Saturday against the Tampa Bay Lightning, and then Monday versus Arizona. The 23rd, the Nashville Predators will have a 1-game road trip into Detroit, then come back home on the 25th versus Colorado, and the 26th versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Preds in the middle of a big homestand right now, and so far the results are good. Injury report for the Nashville Predators. Mark Borowiecki, of course, is on injured reserve. NHL ranks for the Nashville Predators and the New York Islanders. The Nashville Predators scoring only 2.56 goals per game is 29th in the NHL, while the New York Islanders are scoring 3.35 per game. That is good for 12th overall in the league. Goals against, the Islanders also lead in this metric, 5th best in the league at only 2.53 given up per game, while the Nashville Predators are giving up 3.19 per game. That is 17th in the NHL. In shots on goal, the Preds are 28th, while the Islanders are 12th. In shots against, the Preds are 18th, and the Islanders are 20th. The special teams matchup, power play converting at only 15% for the Nashville Predators, is 30th in the league overall. Only 9 out of 60 on the season. New York Islanders converting at 20%. 10 out of 50 is the raw data. That puts them at 21st overall in the NHL. On the penalty kill, it looks like we have two pretty strong PK units going here. 83.3% for the the Nashville Predators, 84.2% for the New York Islanders, 6th for the Preds in the league, 4th for the New York Islanders. Overall, the Preds have given up 10 power play goals in the season, while the Islanders have given up 9. Most recent action for the New York Islanders, going back to November the 7th, just looking at the last 5 games, a 4-3 overtime victory versus the Calgary Flames. On the 8th of November, it was a 4-3 win at the New York Rangers. Followed it up on the 10th with a 2-0 loss versus the Arizona Coyotes. On the 12th of November, a 4-3 overtime win versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. And most recently on the 14th, a 4-2 victory at the Ottawa Senators. Taking a look inside the individual statistics for both of these teams, and you know that there are some high-powered offensive threats. When it comes to New York Islanders, Brock Nelson, 9 goals and 9 assists on the season, is currently at 18 points. Matt Barzal has 18 assists, 18 total points on the year. Anders Lee at 8 and 8 for 16. Dobson has 5 and 7 for 12, and Wahlstrom is at 5 and 4 for 9 points overall. Ilya Sorokin has a record of 7-4-0, 932 save percentage, 2.17 goals against average. He is impressive in net, but the Nashville Predators have had some success against him in the past. Taking a look at the Nashville Predators and their statistics, Philip Forsberg leads the team in overall scoring, 5 goals and 10 assists for 15 points. Matt Duchene has 4 goals and 9 assists for 13 points. Mikhail Granlund, 1 goal and 11 assists for 12 points. Johansson, 5 and 5 for 10. Roman Josi, 3 and 7 for 10. UC Saros' numbers starting to look a little bit better as this franchise seems to be turning a curve on this homestand. A record of 5-6-1, 907 save percentage, 3.03 goals against average. That gets you all set up for the Nashville Predators versus the New York Islanders. Next game on this homestand, it is the hinge game of this homestand for the Nashville Predators. They've already collected 4 out of 4 points so far. 3 more games to go on this current homestand. This could be the moment where the Nashville Predators are turning the curve on the season. After 16 games played, the Nashville Predators are only 1 game under 500. It's time for the Rebirth Sports full game recap. Rebirth Sports, check out their work at rebirthsports.com. Also check them out on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Not just jersey makers, they are hockey tailors, and they can take your vision, make it a reality. You see me wearing the Renegades of Puck home jersey right here in the bunker. You've seen me wearing the road jersey, the third jersey. You've seen me wearing Rebirth Sports jerseys in league play, in tournament play, even on Lake Nokomis for the United States Pond Hockey Championships. What they create is something that makes memories forever. It's a match made in hockey, and I sure do appreciate our partnership with Rebirth Sports, and I would appreciate if you would check out their work. Again, find them at rebirthsports.com. Now, time to go all the way back to November the 15th of the year 2022 when the Nashville Predators were hosting the Minnesota Wild. John Hines goes with that radical new line deployment that goes in the following way. Forsberg, Parson, and Granlund, Trenin, Jankowski, and Janot, Niederreiter, Johansson, and Duchene, Smith, Sissons, and Tolvanen, Josi and Fabro, Ekholm and Carrier, McDonough and Luzon, UC Saros gets the start in net. We're 2:54 into the first period, and Ellie Tolvanen's off to the box 2 minutes for hooking in the neutral zone. UC Saros has to come up with a save on Boldy at close range. It's the first shot on goal of the game. It is coming after 3 minutes and after a power play has been given. 3 total shots on goal for the Minnesota Wild in this strong PK overall by the Nashville Predators. 6:51 of the first period. Fleury comes up with a save on Niederreiter's tip. First shot on goal for the Nashville Predators. That's right, 6:51 into the first period. 8:50 into the first period. Rossi's out to the box, 2 minutes for hooking. Fleury comes up with a save on Forsberg. Parsonen crashes hard and causes a scrum. Then Fleury comes up with a save on Duchene at the end of the power play. It would only be moments later at 11:20 when Nino Niederreiter scored his 7th goal of the season. A scoop backhand that goes top shelf, giving the Nashville Predators a 1-0 lead. His 7th goal of the season is the team-leading 7th goal of the season. 11:40 into the first period. Steele is off to the box, 2 minutes for high sticking in the offensive zone. Matt Duchene converts on the power play with his 4th goal of the season, giving the Nashville Predators a 2-0 lead. Bar down wrist shot off of Johansson's feed. Johansson's 2nd assist of the game, 2nd assist of the period, obviously. Matt Duchene's 4th goal of the season. Preds lead 2-0 at Bridgestone Arena. 13:53 of the first period. Smith versus Middleton, 5 minutes each, and then 15:35. Janot hits the crossbar, and Trenin cannot bunt in the rebound as he's falling down. Fleury survives this massive scrum. You see the instant replay multiple times, and Janot just barely misses putting this puck into the net. 15:44 of the first period. Johansson picks up a penalty, 4 minutes for high sticking. Saros has to come with a huge save on Kaprizov. Saros then has to come up with a huge save on Boldy's wraparound attempt. Overall, though, the Nashville Predators do a a very good job over the 4 minutes of penalty killing. 19:52 of the first period, UC Saros holds the line on a mad scramble, making multiple saves. We hit the intermission with Minnesota out shooting Nashville 17-11. Roll into the second period. We're 1:14 in. Fleury comes up with a save on Johansson. Sharp angle. Back end 1:26 in. Foligno versus Luzon. 5 minutes each. Not much right here. This fight actually really never got started. 2:48 of the second period. Saros comes up with a save on Shaw. 4:38. Zuccarello hits the post through a screen. UC Saros never saw that puck coming. 6:38. Bench minor for too many men on the ice. On the Nashville Predators, UC Saros has to come up with a big save on Kaprizov. Saros has to come up with another big save on Foligno, and then an even bigger save on Gaudreau at the close range right there at the end of the power play. And then right after the power play expires, 10:07 of the second period, Saros comes up with a save on Merrill's backhand, plus rebound jam. Easily Minnesota's best scoring opportunity and sequence offensively of the game to this point. 11:39 of the second period, Fleury comes up with a save on Barsonen. 16-17. Saros save on Rossi. 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike conduct on Rossi on the play. Contact with the goalie led to a large scrum. Good to see Parsonen jumping in there immediately and not being afraid to take that role. Duchesne, 2 minutes for interference on the power play. That leads to a 4-on-4 for 105. Then Minnesota, too many men on the ice. That leads to a 4-on-3 for 7 seconds, which leads to a 4-on-4 for 55 seconds, which leads to a power play for the Preds for 58 seconds. We go to the third period. Minnesota out shooting the Nashville Predators 27-18. We roll into the third period. 10-second power play carryover. That comes and goes with nothing happening. But 32 seconds into the third period, something is happening, and it's Gaudreau scoring at Bridgestone Arena, his third goal of the season for Minnesota, cutting the Nashville Predators lead to 2-1. He fakes the pass, opens up the post, and then shoots from the circle off of the rush. 2-1 in favor of the Nashville Predators now early in the third period. Minnesota clearly gaining some momentum from the goal and controlling the pace of play at 3:44, though. Matt Dumb is off to the box, 2 minutes for delay of game. Fleury has to come up with a save on Tolvanen off the rush, but the power play is almost non-existent. 6:32, Luzon's off to the box, 2 minutes for high sticking. Rather reckless with the stick as of late is what Luzon has been. Jankowski and Janot, though, bail out their teammate. Strong PK. Yossi blocks a shot right there at the top of the crease. 11:47 of the third period, Saros comes up with a save on Boldy. 16:40, Saros comes up with a save on Spurgeon's long shot. We hit the empty net with 1:51 remaining. At 18:30, Saros comes up with a save on Eriksson Ek. Minnesota would control the puck in the Nashville Predators zone for the final 1:30, and they would generate a couple of more shots on net, but UC Saros and Nashville Predators defense would hold strong. You would see multiple block shots, just like we did in the previous game versus the New York Rangers, and you would see the same final as the previous game. 2-1 in favor of the Nashville Predators. They survive another game on home ice. Outshot 33-25. Not nearly as dramatic as the previous game, but the Nashville Predators find a way to survive against a division rival, and they find a way to collect 2 points on home ice. Now 4 out of 4 in points on the homestand. Impressive job by the Nashville Predators defeating the New York Rangers and now the Minnesota Wild. Now they have an opportunity to face off against another very good team in the New York Islanders, and then another very good team in the Tampa Bay Lightning, and then Arizona will come to town. I mean, they're all good. This is the NHL, National Hockey League. All teams are good. The Arizona Coyotes are only currently 2 points behind the Nashville Predators. They played one less game than them, so I'm not going to sit here and say because they're a 7th place team, they're not good. Arizona did just come up with a victory against this New York Islanders team back on November the 10th. That's your Rebirth Sports full game recap. We got full analysis and the Renegades of Puck coming up next. Strong Style Fitness, incredible partner of the Renegades of Puck. Please check out Strong Style Fitness by going to strongstylefitness.com or checking them out online for social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. 150 workouts by a certified personal trainer, all there on demand, ready for you and made available completely for free to the Renegades of Puck. Listen, the world is an incredibly expensive place, and having a certified personal trainer at the ready multiple times a week, that can add up very quickly. Well, that's where Tracy and Strong Style Fit comes in. Whether it's your first journey off of the couch or you've been doing it for years, Tracy has a workout designed just for you. Get in there, check out the playlists, and find one for yourself. I know you'll feel the results. I have felt the results myself, and I know plenty of other Renegades have as well. Again, Strong Style fitness. Let's get into the analysis of this game. This is fun to talk about. UC Saros, 32 out of 33 in this game. 1 goal against. Maybe he left the post a little bit earlier. Freddie Gaudreau, maybe from being teammates with UC Saros at one time. Maybe knew a little bit something. It was a good look off by Freddie Gaudreau, but I thought UC Saros might have left the post just a little bit early. But if that's the only mistake he made in this game, he comes away with the victory for his team, and he was absolutely dynamic when needed to be, especially when the Predators were shorthanded. The Minnesota Wild have a very good power play unit, and UC Saros did a great job of making sure that they did not score, while his defenders helped a lot. We'll talk about the defense here in just a minute, but UC Saros was dynamic when needed. Second game in a row, only giving up 1 goal. The numbers starting to come a little bit correct. .907 save percentage looks a whole lot better than it did just a couple of weeks ago. Matt Duchene with 1 goal, 1 assist, 4 shots on goal. Got demoted to the third line, earning his way back up to that first line. Thought that this was some of the best hockey he's played so far this season. Yes, he had a 40-plus goal season last year. He led the team in goals. This season, he has not quite had that same scoring touch. Earning his way back in, perhaps getting dropped to the third line was just the notification he needed to get in his inbox to get things going in the right direction. Certainly going in that direction after tonight. That goal he scored tonight was the game-winning goal. Niederreiter scored a goal in this game, his 7th of the season. And listen, I know you haven't really thought about this yet, but he's on pace for 30 goals. Niederreiter quietly goes out there, grinds away shift after shift, and he does good things at all times. Not always a box score noticeable, but he does a lot of really good things, and he does a lot of getting under the skin of the opponent, and that's going to continue to pay off as the season goes along. And so far, I think the best is yet to come. I think Niederreiter is still getting used to some of his teammates, some of the coaching staff, and I think that he's going to continue to improve. But 7 goals right now leads the team, and that's a nice pace at this point in the season. Ryan Johansson's world-class distribution service made its return to Bridgestone Arena tonight. A couple of sick feeds in this game across the crease there to help on that first goal of the game. Really great pass right there, setting up the second goal. Ryan Johansson face-off dominance is also something that we need to point out. He's not just dishing the puck, but he is helping the Preds start the play with the puck, and you always have the advantage when you can start with the puck in the offensive zone. Ryan Johansson right now easily one of the best in the league at taking faceoffs and taking a high volume of faceoffs for this Nashville Predators team. It's one of the aspects and nuances of the game that I absolutely love to talk about is faceoffs, and Ryan Johansson right now is killing it in the faceoff dots. When it comes to the defense, 11 block shots, 15 hits, 5 for 5 on the PK. Listen, the PK is a team-wide concept. It's not just the defense, but I put this one in the category for the defense so that I can make sure I properly discuss it. Block shots, second game in a row. The Nashville Predators defensive core is giving up the body, sacrificing, and they're doing it at the right and the hard times. We saw Ekholm with the 2-pad stack in this game. Thanks, Mace, for bringing that back. And we also saw Roman Josi, the captain, go down right in the slot and block a shot right there on the top of the crease. So another night for the Nashville Predators defense core, going down, sacrificing, giving up the body, and blocking tons of shots. 15 hits, incredibly physical game between these two teams. That part of the game was very enjoyable to watch. Then 5 for 5 on the PK. Again, the Preds had a pretty good PK unit. Minnesota had a better power play unit coming into this game, and certainly the offensive weapons and threats and the amount of time that they were able to get on the power play, Minnesota should have probably been more successful. The Nashville Predators defense and UC Saros made sure that that didn't happen. And I got to talk about the coaching one more time. John Hynes is pulling the right strings right now. The players are not bitching. The players are responding. Matt Duchene got bumped down to the third line. He's responding like a player that wants to move back up. Jankowski didn't get a couple of games played out there, now back in the lineup, and he is playing like he is earning every minute that he's on the ice. It's good to see how John Hynes is pulling the strings, and I think a lot of people over the first 15 games absolutely overreacted to every micromanagement move. Remember, it's an 82-game season. It's a long season, and sometimes it does take the first 20 games of the season to get your team together. The players aren't bitching. The players are following what the coach is doing. And the coach is giving you the best answers and responses that any coach, I think, has given in the league. You guys are pushing me in the position of having to defend the head coach because I see so much attacking out there on every single decision that this head coach is making. And right now, what he's doing is help his team turn a corner. And what he has done is radically change the deployment of his lines over the course of the first 15 games. Coaches that they've been with this franchise in the past wouldn't change these lines until game 60 of the season. They would only do it because there were injuries involved. So John Hines, I think right now, is doing a fantastic job, and Dan Highnote is doing a fantastic job as the assistant coach. You know what? I've given you a lot of analysis, and I have Renegades of Puck that I want to get to, because the Renegades of Puck and their thoughts, their opinions, their analysis, it's so incredibly value and important to me, and I think to you, the viewers. That's why I appreciate each and every one of them for taking the time and submitting their reports. None better than bringing you the intel right here than Sean C. Smith from A to Z Sports. You can find him on Twitter at SCSNSH. He is simply the best. So happy to have Sean back in the trenches. Here's his report from Bridgestone Arena tonight.
Thanks, Charlie. Hey, Renegade. Sean C. Smith here to talk a little bit about the Preds' big win over the Minnesota Wild. And Charlie mentioned earlier that he felt like Matt Duchene was doing what he needed to do to earn his way back to the first line. Now, I'm going to differ a little bit here, and I want to say a couple of things. Number one, let's talk about Juuso Parssinen. Juuso Parssinen's come in, made a big impact in the last game, and then against Minnesota, maybe not a huge impact on the scoring side of things, but I think Parssinen looked incredible on the team, looked great on the ice all night long, looked like he fit really well with Forsberg and Granlund up on the top line, and I'll be honest, playing on that power play looked strong too. When he felt like some liberties were being taken with UC Saros, he had no problem going ahead and engaging and giving his opponent a little bit of his stick, a little cross-check action, not afraid to push him out of the blue ice and kind of make a point to say, hey, you're not going to touch my goalie. And that's what you want to see out of a guy that's brand new to the team. He's ready to go. He's ready to jump in and do what he needs to do to really earn that spot and really solidify himself as a playmaker on the team. Now, being the first-line center does mean that you kind of, and this is where things get a little tricky here, if he's the first-line center, Johansson's the second-line center. That, of course, pushes Mikael Granlund over to the wing on the first line. Down on the second line, that means that Matt Duchene is he the odd man out down there on the second line, or is Matt Duchene, along with Johansson and Nino Niederreiter, a much more powerful line, a much more offensively supercharged line? You've got a great playmaker in Ryan Johansson. Johansson was very complimentary of Duchene after the game tonight, and being able to have skill on both sides instead of this kind of revolving door musical chairs experiment with which winger are we going to bring in and kind of put with these guys and see if it works. Maybe that's over. And I've said before on a few different platforms that I don't necessarily think that the success of this team is going to live and die with whoever's playing in that spot on the second line. However, putting Matt Duchene there, making that a line, that looks really good. And if you can have Parssinen come in and actually be that first line center, or at least a center that plays with those two really skilled, offensively minded guys like Granlund and Forsberg, then the front six, the top six of this team, looks a lot stronger than it did a few games ago or even at the beginning of the season. Now, speaking of Matt Duchene, Ryan Johansson was very complimentary of him. I don't really know if I want to say he's earning his way back to the first line. If you look at having a first and second line with those six players on it, is there really a big difference between those two lines? Does it matter which line you're on if both of your lines are producing offense? And that kind of gets into the thing that we've been saying a lot. Your top players need to be your top players. And there has been an upswing more recently, maybe not in the last game specifically, where you're starting to see those top paid players being the ones that are producing offense. Maybe they're not scoring the goals, but they are getting the assists and setting things up to make it happen. Johansson thus far is having a very good season that way. And if got a little silly there. If Johansson is making all those good plays and Duchene's there to capitalize on them, then that's kind of a match made in heaven. And I think that's probably what you may be looking at for the foreseeable future with this team, is not a situation where Matt Duchene is moving back up to the first line, but where the first and second line are kind of operating on an interchangeable schedule where either one of those could be the first line. And that's really what you want, is two lines that are going to be major scoring threats anytime they're on the ice. That gives the other team a lot more that they have to worry about night in and night out. And let's be real. Part of the issue with Matt Duchene this season really may just be the fact that he is the leading scorer on the Nashville Predators, and that scouting reports just say, hey, you got to have two guys on Duchene. You got to keep him busy. You got to keep him occupied. Do everything you can to slow him down, keep him from getting through the neutral zone with speed, because when he does that, he can make things happen. Duchene's a very skilled forward, so it makes perfect sense that maybe a lot of attention was on Forsberg last season. Now maybe it's spread out over both of them. And when you're doing that, it makes things a little bit harder. So as the season goes on, you start to see guys kind of coming in and getting more comfortable in their roles and kind of figuring out where they're going to be night in and night out. You should start to see some improvement. Now, don't think that just because there were 2 wins in a row necessarily means that, the season is saved, the Preds are winning the Cup. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think there's still a lot of tinkering and work that needs to happen before they feel really comfortable with what they've got on the ice. So look for the Preds to kind of stick with what's working. And as they see, I don't think you're going to see a bunch of drastic changes. I think they've kind of got something that's working. They're going to stick with it. But what's working isn't just those lineups, but it's also realistically the fact that the team is playing the way they need to play, which is playing that hard defensive style game where they're really forcing the other team to earn everything they get on the ice, and they're punishing them anytime they get into the corners or go after a loose puck, or they really have to fight for every inch. When you do that, you wear a team down. You saw it against the Wild. Things got chippy early when the Preds got up by 2 goals, but they continued to be chippy all night long because the Predators weren't going to back down after getting a 2-goal lead. They were going to keep playing with that hard edge, and when you did that against the Wild didn't like it very much. They fought back, but when the Wild fought back, they tended to lose some of their better players, where the Predators were losing guys they could, at some points, afford to lose for 5 minutes. What ends up happening, if you notice, after the final buzzer, there was a lot of extracurriculars going on the ice, and that lets you know just how much the Predators were under the Minnesota Wild's skin. So let's take that momentum, take it into Thursday against New York, and I think they're getting back on the right track. I'm not going to say, hey, they're going on a streak here, they're going to win the next 10 games, but I do think they've kind of got a little bit of their swag back, and when the team's feeling good about itself, they're playing good. When they play good, they have a much better chance to win. Renegades, Charlie, that's all I got. I'm going to send it back over to you.
You can find him on Twitter at SCSNSH. You can check out his work at A2ZSports.com. You can watch him right here on Renegades of Puck TV. He's got the intel that you need, Renegades. He is the one and only Sean C. Smith. Stripe Digital Solutions. Please check out Stripe Digital Solutions at stripedigitalsolutions.com. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You need a strong digital partner in the world as it is today. If you're running a small business, if you're running a podcast, if you're running whatever it is, you need a strong digital presence and you need strong digital guidance. And that's exactly where Stripe Digital Solutions comes in. Take a look at renegadesofpuck.com. Take a look at our social media brand building, our plans, our graphics, our imagery that we use in our digital realm. All of that is created, assisted, and advised by Stripe Digital Solutions. I advise each and every one of you, reach out to Brandy, find out how they can help get your operation going in the right direction. Stripe Digital Solutions, a fantastic partner of the Renegades of Puck. I'm going to give you some numbers, then I'm going to turn it over to the expert to give you some real analysis on these numbers. Goal scorers for the Nashville Predators in this game: Matt Duchene scores a goal. Nino Niederreiter also scores a goal. In the assist category, Ryan Johansson leads the Nashville Predators with 2. Matt Duchene has 1. Roman Josi has 1. In the shots category, Matt Duchene has 4. Nino Niederreiter has 4. And you also see Philip Forsberg with 3 in this game. When it comes to block shots, I've already highlighted the defense core, but the team overall was led by the captain, Roman Josi, with 4 blocked shots in this game. Impressive effort, again, by the defense core, giving up the body and sacrificing. Very physical game out there. We had a couple of scraps in this game. We had a lot of really big hits. Let me give you some of those hit totals. 6 hits by Tanner Jeannot, 6 hits by Cole Smith. Good to see Cole Smith engaging the way he was. He was more noticeable in this game than he has been in most games. That's the style of game that I think he thrives in, and he certainly was better and more noticeable. Philip Forsberg had 4 hits in this game. Yakov Trenin, welcome back to the lineup after missing the last game, 4 hits, and Luzon also 4 hits in this game. Time on ice. This is going to seem very familiar to any Predators fan over the last year plus. Mikhail Granlund led the forwards in time on ice at 19:04, and Roman Josi led the team in total time on ice 22:23. Want to highlight a couple of other time on ice numbers, though. Tanner Jeannot, 5:18 shorthanded time on ice. Stick taps for that performance. And Alex Carey, 4:15 shorthanded time on ice. McDonough, 4:11 shorthanded time on ice. And Yakov Trenin, 3:56 shorthanded time on ice. Jeannot, 3:51. These guys really showed out tonight on the penalty kill and on the defensive side of things. 5 for 5. The difference in the game tonight, the Nashville Predators win the special teams battle. 1 goal on the power play, and they kill off all 5 against. So the Nashville Predators actually did win the special teams battle, and it's not many times we can point that out or we can say that. He's leading the analytics revolution for the Renegades of Puck. He doesn't just lead the Renegade analytics desk. He's leading the analytics revolution for the Renegades of Puck. He's got the numbers you need to know and the charts you need to see, and he's becoming a bigger and bigger factor every time we have him on the show. He's the one and only Brian Baston from OnTheForecheck.com. He's up right now.
Welcome back, Renegades, to the Renegade Analytics Desk, and we're going to focus on one of the big names tonight, the guy who made history himself, Matt Duchene. What he did tonight in the 2-1 victory over the Minnesota Wild is going to be the topic of our one big stat. Now, as you know, Matt Duchene collected his 700th and 701st career points against the Minnesota Wild, first as an assist on the Nino Niederreiter goal early on, and then as adding his own goal on the power play at the end of the first period. Now, what's really remarkable about this is Matt Duchene has been doing this fairly recently against the Minnesota Wild. In fact, let's take a look at his last 5 games, including tonight against the Wild. As you can see, tonight marked the 5th straight game against the Wild where Matt Duchene managed to have multiple points, 2 or more points, which you see he has goals in the last 3. And then the game back all the way back in October of 2021, he had a 3-assist night, giving him 3 points. So historically, Matt Duchene has actually kind of struggled against the Minnesota Wild, but as of late with the Nashville Predators, he's seen a whole lot of success. So it's not surprising to see him perform extremely well once again. Now, looking at the line that he was on, the line of Matt Duchene, Ryan Johansson, and Nino Niederreiter, that line was pretty good. They accounted for the goal at 5-on-5, and obviously Duchene's group was out there for the power play goal. But at 5-on-5, in a game where Nashville was mostly dominated just due to the fact of the sheer number of shots that Minnesota had compared to Nashville, but Nashville, almost every player had been pretty much dominated up and down as far as expected goals, except for that line. That line with Matt Duchene at 5-on-5 had a 73.5% expected goal rate, meaning that all of the shot quality that was created on the ice when that line was there, 73.5% of it came from Nashville. So they were producing better volume, producing better shot quality, and of course that did lead to the first period goal. So Matt Duchene, it's been a slightly bumpy season. He right now is second on the team with 4 goals, and averaging 13 points just in 16 games play. But we've seen a lot of good things from Matt Duchene lately, and hopefully that he can avoid some of the penalty problems that we've been seeing early on. But I think Matt Duchene can get back to his normal scoring ways, although after the rough start, I'm not sure anybody's getting over 40 goals. And that's the topic of tonight's One Big Stat. Charlie?
He's got the charts you need to see and the numbers you need to know from OnTheForecheck.com. You can find him on Twitter at Brian Baston. You can always watch him right here on Renegades of Puck TV. Stick taps, love, and respect to you, Brian. Sure to appreciate all the hard work you're doing for the Renegades of Puck. Listen, this is real easy. Let's close this out. We talked about opportunity. Keep the opportunity rolling. Now, the Preds have 4 points out of 4 possible points on this homestand. Tough game coming up against New York Islanders. Tough game coming up against Tampa Bay Lightning. But they have an opportunity, and that opportunity is going to continue rolling on through this 5-game homestand. The opportunity is to find themselves at over 500 by the time they close out this homestand and to get themselves in the right position after the 20-game mark on the schedule. It's coming up. It's coming very quickly. But for the Nashville Predators, I do feel like these last 2 games, while they're not the prettiest games in the world, you can see the signs of turning the corner that you need to see when a team is going to start becoming more and more successful. The sacrifice that this team is putting in, the way they are giving up the body, the way they're playing physically, the way UC Saros is starting to play in net. They are coming together at just the right time. Niederreiter, McDonough, these are players that needed some time to adjust. The Nashville Predators now are starting to get things going in the right way. And Parsonen, maybe that is the point where everything turned around. And what a glorious story that would be. A player that gets called up first 2 games in the NHL, making an impact as a first-line center. His big body game out there tonight was impressive to see. Not a lot in the box score for him tonight, but very noticeable in his second game and very impressive. And I want to continue watching that player here at this level and continue tracking that. So keep it going. That's what you have to do now. The opportunity has presented itself, and now you have to keep that going. We'll go ahead and close it out right there because there's really nothing else to say about it. I appreciate each and every one of the Renegades of Puck for jumping in the trenches. Appreciate each and every one of you for jumping in the trenches. The show is being seen and heard by more Renegades of Puck than it has ever been before, thanks to our good friends at Full Press Coverage. We are officially the Full Press Predators podcast now, and the Renegades of Puck will continue to thrive in this role. When I say more people are hearing the show than have ever heard the show before, I mean on a worldwide basis. At this point in time, the Renegades of Puck will continue to grind and continue to do the hard work here in the trenches because we want to continue building our audience beyond the Nashville and Middle Tennessee area until we become a global entity. That is our goal. That's why we are in Savannah covering the Ghost Pirates. That's why we are covering all different levels of hockey. We are breaking out of our bubble, Renegades, and front lines are everywhere. Thank you so much to everyone at Full Press Coverage, and thank you so much for following along with the Full Press Predators podcast. Before we head on out the door, you know who's back in the trenches? He just came knocking on the door right after the game, and he said he had to get in. He had to be a part of the show, and I'm so happy he's back. The show's better when he's a part of the show, man. The hype man is back, so I'll say this. Ulti's coming up right here. Stick taps, love, and respect to each and every one of you Renegades. I mean it. Stick taps, love, respect. Ulti, close us out.
That's 2 in a row. 2 big wins against teams that we should have beaten. 2 big wins as we try and claw and scratch our way back to the top. 2 big wins that put us on a huge disadvantage on 2 double minor plays in 2 separate games that our penalty kill scratched, clawed, and made it work. We've seen some of the young blood in Milwaukee. They have earned their spot. Janikowski, Parisinen, welcome home. Get comfortable. You're going to be here a while. But we need the streak to keep going. We need to push just a little harder. Get on the edge a little quicker. Snap that glove a little tighter. Snap that wrist a little quicker. Keep the streak alive. Make Bridgestone the place that everybody fears to be inside again. And we're getting there. Look good tonight. We got a big test coming up on Thursday. But I believe, and I know all of my Ultimaniacs, the Renegades, the Predaholics, they believe too. It can happen. We've reached the magical 10-game threshold that everybody seemed to think has been the stepping stone. And now we take what's rightfully ours. Now we do the things that we're supposed to do and play the way that we're supposed to play. And we put the Central Division on notice. It's our time. It's our game. Oh, in Minnesota. Dewey likes to mess with signs, huh? It's real funny. It's cute. But I do too. And I got one for him. Islanders, you're next.